So feeling is the secret. Feeling is the real prayer. Feeling is the real and the only true way to communicate to God, to the universe. I used to think for many, many years that praying was just putting the hands together, closing the eyes, and speaking words, not realizing that my words were empty. But I thought, well, my words are audible, so God must hear them. But feeling, if there's no feeling, no emotion attached to the words, then you might as well just blow those words in the wind. So feeling can be silent. Prayer can be silent. And where I'm going with all of this is that if you have unhealed trauma and unforgiveness in your heart, if you have hatred in your heart from things of the past, you are not truly feeling. You're not truly sending out a strong vibration. You're not sending out a strong pulse for the universe to receive, to hear what you're asking for. And I was going to title this video, "In order to feel, you must first heal." I think I did actually add that, but feeling is the secret. And I think about my life. Most of my life, I numbed myself with alcohol and sugar and smoking weed and escaping my pain through, binge scrolling or binge watching things on TV, or just constantly being social with people. I just didn't want to be alone with myself because I had a lot of pain. And but the number one numbing agent that I used was smoking weed. And nothing against smoking weed, but I was using it to numb the trauma in my nervous system. But I gave up. I released marijuana several months ago, and I sat for a few days and I felt everything, and it made me cry for hours. And I was like, this sucks. I really want to smoke. I want to just eat. I want to escape this. I don't want to feel this. But a miracle happened. After I had all that feeling, I woke up the next day like I got upgraded. And I don't know if you felt the full moon, the energy of the full moon last night, but I was going a little crazy. And I do every time there's a full moon. It brings up emotions in me. And I felt it all. I felt all the emotions last night, and I managed to fall asleep, and I had a good sleep, and I woke up this morning, I'm like, thank you, God. The full moon is over with. I survived. I got through. Because if I may be very real about something right now, and that is dispatchers at police stations get the most call for suicide attempts or actual suicides on the night of full moons. And I've known this for decades. I've always known that people end up, ending their lives during full moons. I never understood it, but now I do. There's an effect it has on us. It makes the ocean tides rise, and our bodies are filled with water. So it does something with the water in our bodies where it just brings up emotions. So I survived, and I feel like a whole new human being today. And so that's the secret, is if you sit with your emotions without numbing them. You think like, oh, I'm going crazy, but you're actually healing. When you feel, you are healing. And when you look around, most people are numbing themselves. Most people don't want to sit still, don't want to be alone in solitude. They don't even want to be in silence, because then they have to hear the chaos in their head. And so people constantly have noise around them. So I studied books on the law of attraction and manifestation for the last several years, and I did all the practices, visualizing, affirmations, journaling, and praying, and like nothing really happened. Nothing ever truly materialized. Like I'm like, this doesn't work, and I got so frustrated, and I wasted money and I wasted time on programs and courses and life coaches and books, and I just got rid of it, all of it, and I said, this doesn't work. It's all a scam. And I got really frustrated why it didn't work for me, but I saw other people having success, and I'm like, now I get it. I'm like, I healed my trauma. So now I can feel more. I've become more sensitive. You have to become sensitive. You have to be able to feel so God, universe, source, energy, whatever you want to call it, can receive your prayers, can hear what your burning desires are. And then boom, you step out and you go out into the world and you start running into people like, oh my gosh, what a divine connection. Or something shows up on your social media, or something comes in the mail. All these miracles start happening when you are, it's like your heart, like you're living from your heart, and no longer in your lower three chakras. You are now living from your heart, which is your magnet. Our heart is our magnet. It puts out the signal, and it also receives. And I can share some stories of things that have happened in the recent weeks, but I won't. But I have this new belief that I had because I had these experiences. But one example is I've been really inspired lately to play music. And I kind of went through some struggle. I'm like, am I a drummer? Am I a piano player? Like, what kind of band do I want to play with? Or do I want to be a solo act? Like I was going through this identity crisis. Like, who am I? But that was my prayer. That's what God was hearing, is me asking, who am I? And my soul, most importantly, was hearing me seeking. And seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened. So when you humble yourselves and your soul hears you in that way, expect an answer to come through, even though it could be a dark night. But there's a bright morning after that. You wake up, you're just like, wow. You just get clarity, you get guidance, you get focused. You're like, so this morning I'm watching this video of this beautiful music, this piano player and these string musicians, and there's this director, and I'm watching it and I'm so emotionally involved with it. And I see the director doing this, and then I had this memory of when I was a child. I was at the school concert, and I walked up to the director, and I asked him, or I don't know what happened, but I started doing the thing the director was doing, and he stepped off the podium and he let me direct this orchestra at the school. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I remembered that. I did that. I had this moment where I was directing the band and I didn't know what I was doing. I'm just moving my hands. And I started tearing up. And then I look at this. This is on my coffee table. My eyes went from tearing up. I looked down on my coffee table and I see the word composition, compose. And I was like, composer. And I quickly searched it on Google. I'm like, what does composition mean? Composer. I mean, composition is like being a director of, music, basically bringing a lot of ingredients together in a mixture. There's all these different definitions of composition, but it's taking a bunch of little things and making it into one. And I'm like, that's what a composer is. There's all these musicians, different instruments that come into one to make the music. And I'm like, wow. And I just cried like a baby because I was like, I've never had insight like that. I never had a prayer answered so quickly. And I'm so convinced now. I'm like, that's my calling in life, is to be a composer to be somehow deeply involved with music, maybe a producer, some kind of music director. But my soul definitely wants to play music. And I was reminded of the Dr. Wayne Dyer quote. He said, "Don't die with your music still in you." And so, hi, Anna. I see you in the live. And hey, Michael. So, Anna, I know you know that quote from Wayne Dyer. Don't die with your music still in you. And it's a little bit of it's a struggle, though, because we all know we have a purpose in life. But our ego says, no, it's not going to pay the bills. Like, you can't just do what you want. Like, that's a hobby. But you have to have a full-time job. You have to get in your cage and be like everybody else. And you have to suffer and participate in the matrix systems. And it's definitely a very empty and shallow life, the matrix is, and your soul will suffer by doing so. And so it's risky. It's risky following your soul. But once you get these little breadcrumbs, you're like, wow. And you feel inspiration. You feel the positive emotions. That's your emotional guidance system, by the way. If you feel positive emotion, when you think about something, it could be dance, singing, it could be painting, drawing, photography, making movies, being an actor. It's some kind of art. It's some kind of expression. The soul only wants expression. It wants to be free. But the matrix systems are so caged and boxed in. So there's no expression in that. There's nothing but there's a ceiling always above you in every matrix environment. And I think about most jobs have sick days, sick time. Why is that? I wonder why. Because they know that the environments are not conducive to our soul's expansion and growth. And so they know that employees are going to get sick after a few months. You start hearing people coughing your first day, you're like, I don't know how long I'm going to last at this job. I hear people coughing and this guy's not showing up. He's been sick. And yeah, been there. So, but when you have positive emotions, when you think about something, every time I see an airplane fly over me, and I'm talking about the little airplanes, I smile and I'm like, one day, I want to learn how to fly a plane. And so it's my soul telling me that feeling you're having looking at that airplane is appropriate. It's your soul saying yes, yes, yes. When you see something and you feel a smile come up on your face, it could just be cooking and baking. You never know, but you have to explore. You have to get out there and explore, meet people, go to museums, maybe go to a car show. I love old classic cars. I love nostalgia. I love vintage. I love antiques. My soul lights up when I think of being like a train photographer, going on railroad tracks and photographing trains as they travel past, like old trains, or barns or tractors or old farm equipment. I love those kinds of photos. My soul just gets so happy. And so you'll know when you're like driving, like old windmills. When I see an old windmill when I'm driving past, I'm like, I just turn into a little my inner child. Like I was in the back seat of my mother's car, looking out the window, just like, eyes lit up when we would pass like a red barn in Wisconsin. And now I live in Arizona, so I don't see cornfields, but if I do see a cornfield, I get excited. I'm like, where's the red barn? Or where's the silo? So, um, but these are all feelings. Our feelings are so important and so sacred. It's the secret language that we must be sensitive to. And, if I could just shout from the rooftops, I would say, like, to all the men, like, it's okay to be sensitive. It's okay to feel. It's okay to have feelings. But there's this toxic masculinity that has been spreading this false information about what a true man is, and that is, men don't cry, men don't feel, men are not sensitive or feminine. Like, we're just tough. We don't talk. We don't show any emotion. And that has been the most destructive information or advice to any young boy. Fathers from the World War II era that raised the baby boomers were fathers that went to war, and they came back and they were just had no emotion, no feeling. They didn't want to talk about the war. They didn't want to talk about what they saw. And so, the children were just like, wow, dad doesn't talk. He doesn't show much, doesn't express anything. And that's my male figure. That's my example of a man, is this guy that doesn't show feelings. So I guess I need to not show feelings. It's not safe. And so here a couple generations later, we have men struggling, suppressing their emotions deep inside because they're afraid their wife's going to leave them, go cheat on them if they show any tear, if they show any sensitivity. They think that their wife loves them the more they act like a heart of stone. The more prideful and arrogant and hardened that they are, they think that that's what's attractive. But guess what? The women are suffering too. But I think the women they just don't even know. They don't know what they are missing in their husband. So we have a lot of failing marriages. I won't even get into that. But yeah, I'm so grateful that I've suffered so much, and I endured and I persevered, and I've come out on the other end knowing that feeling an expression of our soul and being authentic is our true mission in life. It's our holy work. And there's going to be a new generation of men coming on the scene that are more expressive, more artistic, more creative, and it's going to be made more public. This toxic masculinity is going to die off. And a new generation is being born right now. And we're all going to start feeling like I can breathe, I can take a deep breath, and I can rest, I can feel safe to be me. No more walking on eggshells. No more biting my lip and being afraid to speak up, when I feel uncomfortable around somebody. No more feeling like I'm invisible. Yeah, there's some insanity that's been taking place, emotional abuse in families that has taken place for decades now. And I know a thing or two about it. I know a lot about it. That was my experience. And I'm so grateful to have endured and gotten through. And all I want to do is go on Facebook Live and share a message like this, because I know what people want. It's almost everybody I sometimes wonder, I'm like, who needs to hear this message? And I'm convinced everybody does. Across the world, every single human being needs to hear this kind of message. That feeling is the secret. But in order to feel, you've got to heal. You've got to heal. You have to give yourself permission to heal. You've got to take that journey, that first step of that 1,000-mile journey. And yeah, it's going to rock the boat. If you've got family, if you've got your little circle, your circle of people who like who you currently are, you're going to rock that boat and you're going to change and you're going to, pardon my language here, but you're going to kill the person that they want you to be. You're going to kill off. That person has to die. You've got to be born again. You've got to become a whole new person. Like a caterpillar going in a cocoon and coming out as a butterfly, you have got to die to your old self and come out unrecognizable as a whole new person. That has to happen. You can't be 1 foot in your old self and expect to really, truly have a rebirth. And gosh, it's so worth it though. You're only going to suffer for a short time, but this is your entire life and your soul. This is the vibration of your soul that you're raising. By healing your wounds, your emotional wounds, is like you're dissolving leeches, like leeches attached to you that are sucking and draining your energy every day and keeping your vibration low. You're trying to do all these things. You're reading the books. You're speaking affirmations. You're trying to raise your vibration. You're getting the sunlight. You're going to the gym. You're eating more kale, whatever you're doing. You're trying to raise your vibration, but you have these leeches still in your lower 3 energy centers that are always pulling you down, always pulling you down. That has to be your first step, is being totally sober, getting totally still and quiet, and feel. You've got to feel. Feel what your inner child is trying to say. And it's like going into a basement, a dark basement that you've never been in, with a flashlight. That's scary. And your inner child is somewhere down in that basement. And you're afraid to look. That's what it's like. Because everybody would be like, oh, no. Wait, not yet. I'm going to go back upstairs where there's light. I don't want to be in this basement where it's dark with a flashlight. Like, that's pretty freaking scary. So that's what it's like, is you're going down into the dungeon that you've put your inner child down there and you've tied him or her up. And yeah, that's pretty sad, because you have become who they told you to be. We've all forgotten who we were before they told us who to be. So everyone's journey is the same. We're just remembering. It's a journey of remembering who we were before they told us who to be. And it's going to involve cutting cords, energetic cords, cutting people out of our lives and setting up permanent boundaries with people who have been abusive and not supportive of us. And that's a tough one. And it's going to take time. But until you do, I just had an image of when you cut a cord, it's like you're dissolving that leech. It's the people in your life that are closest to you that are the leeches that are sucking your energy. And they could be in a couple states away. They could be on the other side of the world. But if they're living in your mind, they are a leech and they're draining your energy. So I would write them a letter, email them, and just say, well, you won't know what to say until you actually start writing it out. Dear so and so, and then just let your soul start to speak through you. But you're now honoring your soul, and you're truly loving and respecting yourself, writing this letter and saying, I have to release you, but I'm always going to love you, but I have to release you. You're not conducive to my spiritual development. This is my life. And I can't just keep you around because I'm expected to. I have to release you with love. No hate, no resentment. It's got to be with love. It's got to be true forgiveness. And then, boom, you get so much of your energy back when you cut those cords, when you click, hit send the email, or you put the envelope in the mailbox. That's the moment you cut that cord. It's a wonderful ritual, and I've done it. And I've burned old photos. I've burned things from my past that I've been holding on to, memories of my childhood. I just put them in the fire, and I just honored. It was a very respectful, loving process. So I think I've said enough, and I'm going to bring this to a close. I'm going to read a couple comments here. Hey, Michael. Hey, Anna. Anna says, there is nothing more beautiful in this life than music. Absolutely. God bless you, Anna. God bless you, Michael. And yeah, I just read something earlier that music is it's the language of the universe. Yeah, music is the language of the universe. Music is so much more sacred than we think it is. It's hard to find that sacred music. It's usually not popular. The stuff we hear on radio is garbage. So, yeah, don't die with your music still in you. All right, God bless all of you. Thank you for watching.